Let's see if I can figure out where people sit.
That's all. I'm gonna stay after school for you tomorrow.
All right, Sarah Lynn on the front and the back desk.
Who? Sarah Lynn? Back. The
About people's car. Well, maybe you moved already. Then postpone.
Now we're gonna-
No, my hair was short, but like it's getting
What's that?
weird off.
Oh, no, I told them
Let me bring it back up. I go and the lady.
Happy birthday! Wander here.
Are we supposed to know how to do that?
Her makeup was like not very.
Yeah. We did it the other day.
Was that Friday?
Yeah.
Hey, Kevin.
Hey, Tessie.
And you were like,
I did not.
I did not. I didn't do that.
I'm just saying I should.
What is that? 0.
You want to go this week? I'll be here.
I was gonna say, I'll watch the video.
Oh, God. We had a like even people do.
We'll leave the whole time after school.
That was like, I need to go to that. Oh, your dad. So they were like, just don't even. There's not anything to do with that.
Malaysia is where? Right now.
How's your foot? I guess. And we have your water bottle.
Joyce, what's that behind you?
Oh, endo. We had to put endo. So I think it's better than this.
What club are you in? Hey, club. Oh. Yeah, I'm gonna pick them up on the bus.
Chris is right here.
You said do it whenever I had it out, you know.
And a pepper on it. And Valentine's Day is third week. Because it's actually consultant state pay, so we're having a big pep rally Friday, and so the Valentine's Day. And then Friday, we're breaking the Bulldogs' hearts, and everyone wears black.
Well, good thing I went along with it.
What day is Friday? 8 days. Sorry. Huh? Yeah. Well, whenever we hear something else.
I want to say it. So I really yesterday.
I'm gonna announce the dates in here. And then
Yes, it's so nice.
yeah.
She got all the blue?
I don't know. She said if she asked to tell her I'm sick. Destiny.
What? Oh, yeah.
Right, Kevin, or right, Chris, still? In the executive round. Where's Herman go? I saw him.
He had to go do something about it. That's what he said.
Okay.
Because he's out. There he is.
You back?
He had to go, guys.
Central wouldn't take.
He said, you know, y'all have an announcement to make.
Oh, my God. You do this every time.
So next week,
No, wait.
So you did that Engram?
no,
Oh.
next week, we did get approved to have a spirit week. And because of the Friday night game versus Thomasville here, which is senior night. So Friday night, we have a spirit week. Friday, we have a spirit week all week. It wasn't going to be all week, but I'm going to be convinced because we did really easy things. So Monday, it's going to be called like Man Monday if all this gets approved. It should because it's easy. So you're just going to wear like your sweats, comfy clothes. Tuesday is show some love for your bestie, join with your bestie. Wednesday is date night, I think that's what we said.
Oh, yeah.
So you can get cute, wear whatever you want, no jeans. Y'all know that day. Thursday, since it is Valentine's Day, if you are taking, you will be wearing red. If you are crushing, you will be wearing pink. If you are single, you will be wearing white. And if it's complicated, you're wearing purple. And so then Friday, we broke the Bulldogs' hearts because they lost, and we're at their funeral, and we're all wearing black. So that is the theme for the game.
Lasers and stuff like.
You can just wear black. You can wear black. So we're all wearing all black, and that's for the theme as well on Friday.
I forgot them.
So, well, it should get approved. And so then Friday, we're also having the Black History Month pep rally or whatever that thing is. And then we're also having the pep rally at the end of the day. Right, 2 pep rallies that day. And it's going to be yeah. But it's just both of you getting out of class. It doesn't matter.
So how much?
So the pep rally is going to be 45 minutes. And it's mainly it's not going to be like the homecoming one where it's like all focused on the seniors. It's going to be more of the sports because it's going to be senior night for everyone. So all the sports are going to be called out and get recognized. And there is a twist at the pep rally, and you all have a very big surprise coming for you.
Is there money?
No.
We are.
Oh, who wants money?
Right. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Everybody
You gotta be dollars where you get your.
the test I take back, so don't put them up. The answers to the questions are on the very back. Today and Wednesday. Yeah. I'm aware. I'll be here to, you want to do a 45 question test for lunch?
I know this.
What do you have? You have a cell phone? You leave it on my desk and you sit back from it. Unfortunately, it's something I watched in meeting.
Hey, so thank you, Linda.
Yeah, during the notebook, there's the first section. Just find the one that says Friday and the date.
No, the other Friday with the birthday. I love you.
We're on 8, so I'll be collecting 9 is Wednesday, Thursday. Thursday I'll be collecting. And Caleb, I just collect the ones. Wait, today's the 8th opening. Yes. So if you were out on Friday, you get the one missed. Any days you were absent, you're responsible for the opening you missed. So today's number 8. They don't have to be in order, so if you were out and missed one, find out which one you missed, make it up, and include it. Thursday, that's what I just said. No, if you were out and missed one, you have to make it up.
You said we could take a picture of it, right?
Yeah, you can take a picture of it and then do it later when you have a chance. No, of the opening.
Come on, Jesse.
She left her brain cells at home. Better she's a natural blonde or she's colors that, I'm not sure which.
Oh.
This I want to take a picture of the test.
You said something.
Yeah, that's why I thought you were alone.
Yeah.
We'll take pictures of the test up here. Yes, my dear.
Oh, wow.
I don't care if you take it the last day of makeup work being due at the end of the quarter. You just won't do well on it. The longer you wait, the worse people tend to do. Okay? It's that simple. I don't have a 5-day rule like Miss Thornhill has. Okay? At the end of the quarter, as we approach whatever date Miss Glass has set for grades, I will, about a week before that's due, make an announcement that all makeup work is due by this date. Once that date gets here, if you don't have it made up, I won't take it. If you have a death in the family and you haven't made it up by that date, I still won't extend the date. Because for you, for example, this is on February the 4th that we took this test. The last day for makeup will be due somewhere at the end of March. You've had all these weeks to make that up, so you've had time, okay? So if you need a week to get caught up and you take it in 2 weeks, then you take 2 weeks. But you need to get it made up as quickly as you can so that you have the best chance of doing well. We won't touch on most of this stuff again. So parts of it we will. Heat we'll do at the end of the semester. Chemical and physical change we'll do again in a few weeks. But significant digits we'll use throughout. Metrics, conversions, SI units, those types of things. We won't do again this semester. It's not even on the exam. So in terms of that kind of stuff, if you don't test on it while it's fresh and you wait to the end of the quarter, you won't remember it because we won't do it again. Okay? Yes?
So for test corrections, you said that you only get to corrections on the first one, not the other ones, or you can choose to choose.
Electronics.
Only on the ones I designate in this quarter, it's the first one. So you're sort of screwed.
You know how it's 2 parts?
Unless they have to have multiple choices, but I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
So wait, so like on the next test, we take like, because we can't.
Yeah, it'll be through response, so no, you can't. Raquel, I'm really not feeling you're going to have a big problem with that based on your performance today, so I think you just need to take some value to combat. All right, so if we talk about the 2 parts of the atom, what are the 2 parts of the atom? All right, what parts are found in each? What's found in the nucleus? Protons and neutrons. What's found in the electron cloud? The electrons. All right, what's the mass of each? What's the mass of the proton? 1. What's the mass of the neutron? 1. What's the mass of the electron?
0.
The 0. Or you could have said negligible. I would have taken either answer. Okay? So 1, 1, and 0 are negligible for the electron. All right, what does atomic mass tell us? Number of protons and neutrons in the atom. If you just said protons and neutrons, that's fine. And what does atomic number tell us? Number of protons. Right? Everybody good? You were not here on Friday. That is probably why you do not know what is in the opening. Okay? You missed those notes, and you need to get caught up. Okay? Any day that you're out, you're responsible for the opening. You're responsible for the notes. Where can you always find that information? Sorry, Ellen. You can find it online. Okay? Classes are always recorded. Ask your friends A for the notes. If you can't get caught up just from the notes and you need the lecture to go with it, some people need the instruction. You can always watch the video. Okay? They are always posted online. Now, sometimes I do forget to do it during lunch, and I might not do it until 7 o'clock at night. But they do get posted that day. All right? Now, if you're like Cheyenne, you can subscribe. And then you can find it on YouTube a whole lot of times. I just know that you did. That's why I called you out. Okay? Now, I don't recommend subscribing to my YouTube channel by any stretch. I'm not plugging that. However, if you do, it's easier to find if I forget to post the video. There are times I do forget. I am much better now than I was when I first started doing this process. All right? So, if you look at your test, if you would like to do corrections, first of all, not all tests are eligible for corrections. Okay? Just this one this quarter, unless I decide to do another one. Sometimes I do. It is rare that I do 2 tests a quarter, first of all. Based on the average on this test, I'm just going to take a shot in the dark and guess this will be your one and only shot. Okay? Now, if you choose to do them, there's a form that you fill out. All right? Form that I created years ago. Lots of people in the department use it. All right? It's the number. the answer that you got wrong, correct. But the important column is over here.
Why?
The Y column. I don't care what you wrote, why you wrote it, how you got it wrong. It's not important to me. All right? You got to show me how to do it right. Now, if it's just a definition question, and there's one of them, I looked through the item analysis, and I forget the number. It's in the 30s. It's a definition question. If you got the definition wrong because you didn't know the definition of the word, there's not a lot you can do for the Y except tell me the definition of specific heat or the definition of heat is, and write the definition out. Okay?
I'm an idiot. It gives the teacher a laugh.
Yeah, you can write that, but it won't get you any points. Okay? Now, if it's one that needs an explanation, you need to give me an explanation, like the units for volume are centimeters cubed. Okay? How do you know that? How do you know it's centimeters cubed? What do you learn about it? Okay, it equals milliliters. That's fine. But what did I tell you about that? All right, all cubed units are volumes. Okay, now some of them I didn't teach you anything specific. Like if it's a kilogram, kilograms are the SI unit for mass. If it's just that, that's just a gross memorization question. There's not a lot you can give me for the Y. But let's say it's a math problem. Okay? There's one that's a density problem on there. I forget what the number is. But it's one that several people missed. And it's just worded oddly for most of you. But it asks you to calculate density, and several people got it wrong. All you got to do is show me the formula and plug in the density equals such and such. I'm just going to make it up. 15.2 over 7.5 equals, and calculate your answer. Okay? But you have to show me the math. It's not hard to get your points back. You only get half. You do not get all of them. All right? And you can correct all of the missing multiple choice questions. We do not do this on any of the tests that have for response questions. The next test is more than half for response. And the tests beyond that are 2 or 3 entirely for response. Okay? I'm not big on multiple choice in a chemistry class, simply because y'all are honor students and you're good at guessing. Okay? I'm interested in the process more so than I am multiple guess. Okay? So, you're going to have to adapt. The vast majority of you will be very good at learning the processes, and believe it or not, will score as well on for response as you will on multiple choice. The only thing that will cause you to do poorly on the for response is your lack of attention to detail. As long as you do that, you will score very well.
Yes. You just decide if we get test corrections off of our percentage, like all of ours?
No, I always do it on the first test, simply because most people have a learning curve in chemistry and what the expectations are. And the one in second quarter, I already know which one I'm doing. It's the one we typically score lowest on, yes.
Okay.
It's on the periodic table and bonding.
What if we all fail the next one?
There's no test correction. If you all fail the next one,
You're going to go on the red. You're not going on the
you're not all going to fail the next test.
Everybody's failing on this.
The next test will be in about 2 weeks. We're going to have to. We're going to do all of the atomic structure, mole conversions, naming, and then some math. It'll take about 2 weeks.
All right.
Okay? So, unless you just have to have an answer to something right now, I need to move on because we're only in here till about noon. All right. If I could have my test back. If you wish to do test corrections, this week we said Tuesday and Wednesday, and next week Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Now, unless something in my schedule changes, that's 5 opportunities to do test corrections. That is ample time. Nobody's test is so low that they need so many days beyond 5 opportunities.
Me.
Okay? Now, do you have to do them all? Do you have to do them all in one afternoon?
No.
The answer is no. You can only do 5 in one afternoon, and you need to come back and do 3 more a different afternoon, that is fine. Okay? Lots of people have come and done more than one afternoon. If you're Herman and you want to come today during his college class because he's got an online class and then have an opportunity to do test corrections, that's fine. If you wait until next Thursday to do the test, what happens to your opportunity to do test corrections? It's down the drain. Okay?
So we're allowed to come during 4th period if we don't have a
I'm letting him do the test. The test corrections are no.
Oh.
Okay? I'll let one person sit in the back and take the test. All right? I do not need a herd of people during 4th period.
Just me?
No. It's my most challenging class only because of something. So no.
Only because of.
Yeah, that's all I'm going to say about that. All right, so find your notes. We were talking about atomic mass and atomic number when we last were here, and I asked you a question, most likely, before you left. Let me put what we had written up here.
Is it still on atomic structure?
Yep. Alright, so these would have been the 2 definitions we'd have written. And I would probably asked you before we left, what particle is missing in those definitions? So how are we going to find them if they're not in the definition?
Right.
So what's the answer?
Whatever.
Alright, hold that thought on the subtraction for a minute. Hold the thought on the subtraction. What do we know about an atom? Does an atom have a charge or is it neutral?
Neutral.
It's neutral, okay? An atom is electrically neutral. Okay? Did we write that down?
Yeah.
All right. So if an atom is electrically neutral,
Yeah.
all right, what do we know about our protons and our electrons? Okay? Yep. The number of protons have to equal the number of electrons because your number of positive charges have to equal your number of negative charges. Does that make sense? If there are 10 positives in the nucleus, there have to be how many negatives in the electron cloud? If there are 10 positives in the nucleus, there have to be how many negatives in the electron cloud? 10. They have to match in order for an atom to be electrically neutral. Okay? You can't have an atom that's neutral if the protons and the electrons don't match. Does that make sense? Yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. So, here's where students go wrong. We're going to find out today that in order to find the protons, they're the same number as the what? The electrons. And so people go, oh, it's the same as the what? The atomic number. So they'll say the atomic number is the same as the protons. So they'll say the atomic number is the protons and the electrons. Can we define atomic number as protons and electrons? No, because what does and denote in math class? What does and mean in math class? It means add, okay? We don't define this as protons and electrons. Everybody hear me say that? It's only the number of what? Protons. We use it to find electrons, but don't define it that way. Now, to Raquel, what do you suppose that she's remembering that we use the subtraction to find? Tell me this. What's an atomic number? All right. Atomic mass tells what? Protons and... So what do you suppose would cancel out if we subtract? So what are we going to find if we subtract? There we go. Okay? So when we take the mass and we subtract the number, we find the neutrons. Okay? The reason for that is the mass has the protons and the neutrons, and you're going to see me abbreviate that way all day long. The number has just the protons. So when we subtract them, the protons cancel out, which leaves you just the neutrons, which is why we subtract. Okay? Everybody with us? Now, like I said, you may have seen this before in 8th grade. Now, odds are good. If you did, you just use the squares on the periodic table. We're going to learn the notations today instead of just using squares on the periodic table.
Anybody remember this? I know I do not.
No, I don't know.
Usually I get some people who remember.
Yeah, no.
Well,
Moses
come on, now usually Miss Cologne teaches this, and I got some people who remember.
Well, there's no big.
When she was talking at all.
Oh, well, Miss Cologne.
Same person.
She got married.
Do not write on it other than your name. And again, same rules apply. You may use it on every quiz and every test. It is the center of your reference table on the exam. It is an identical copy of what you will get on exam day. When you open up your 6 pages of reference tables, these will be the center. And it will be a giant periodic table that will span 2 pages. I shrunk it to fit 1 page. Okay? Now,
They need to be that big. Like, this is fine.
I don't know. I'm not in charge of what they give you. It's just going to fit 2 pages. So when you open the center will be the periodic table. Now, we're going to learn nuclear symbol notation first.
So this is different from atomic structure.
Nope.
There's a little header.
This is like a subheader for those of you who like titles. All right? Now, we want to be able to find protons, neutrons, and electrons. Most likely, if you did this in 8th grade, your teacher just gave you a periodic table. Copy it down exactly.
What is that? What is the red?
31.
15.
Look, now my handwriting is not that bad.
No, that's supposed to be how it is in the law. Know what it means.
That's a P, and it's 31 and 15.
Is that how it's in the box?
Huh? This is what it looks like on the periodic table.
Okay, so we can write it like that instead of write it like that.
All I'm doing is showing you what it looks like on the periodic table there. I don't care if you write that at all. Okay, except I just erased.
So what's the difference
Try that
between
again.
what's the red and what's the blue?
This is the notation you're going to get in my class and on the exam. What's in blue is probably what you might have used in 8th grade, if you saw it at all. Okay? Now, we will not use that other than as a reference when you look it up on the chart. Now, on Friday, we said the little number was called the what? The atomic what? Atomic number. The big number was called the what? The atomic mass. Now, you should be able to look at the periodic table and know what those numbers are. Okay? You should. That's the only reason I drew those blue up there on the table. Okay? Only reason I put that there is just to refresh your memory on those numbers. Okay? As its only function. The little number is the atomic number. The big number is the atomic mass. Okay?
So you just sort of draw opposite in class though, right?
Remember, this table is drawn one way. This table is the opposite.
So the one that has the number is the atomic number.
It doesn't matter which way it's drawn on the table. Okay? That way is that periodic table. This way is that periodic table. Okay? So the smaller number in size.
Oh.
I don't mean top or bottom. I mean in size.
I think you meant like the actual size.
I mean like it's smaller. It's 15, the amount. Oh. Lesser in value.
Yeah, okay, so
Okay?
the 15 is the atomic number.
Yeah.
Correct, because it's smaller on the number line.
Yeah.
Okay?
We get it now.
Okay, y'all are with me. Okay?
Little number in amount
Yes.
is the mass number. What?
The mass is always the bigger number in amount. Like I have more money. You with me?
Yeah,
My light bulb's still not dinging.
I had to stop the Yeah.
When you look at the periodic table, in any of those squares on the periodic table, the number in the box that is the bigger number in size or amount is the mass number. The one that's the decimal is the mass. Okay? They're not all decimals though, which is why I don't usually use that term. But a lot of them are decimals. They're the mass. Okay? The one that's the whole number is generally the number.
Okay, but what about these?
That's why I said they're not all decimals.
This one, like for FR, is 87, and then there's 0.7.
That's got something entirely different. That periodic table has all kinds of other numbers. That's electronegativity. We're not there yet. We are weeks from that number.
What about this one?
Okay? Weeks. Okay? The P is the symbol. Are we okay with the symbol?
Yeah.
Okay. Now, atomic number tells what? This is why we have to learn the definitions. Tells protons. Before you come back to me tomorrow, you better know the definitions. Okay? We're supposed to have a quiz tomorrow, but I can tell you based on the fact that we get out of here at 12, it's probably not going to be tomorrow, it'll be the next day. Okay? I'm not ruling it out yet, though, so don't get excited.
So these pink numbers are the atomic number.
Yes.
And then even though that these are smaller in size, they're the bigger number, the mass.
Yes, it's a larger number in size and amount. Yes.
Okay. See, that's where you
I'm
would
not
have
talking
to-
about print.
I would have said that 90 is the.
You're talking about print size. So, when we look at this, the atomic number is which of these two numbers?
15.
All right, so that's the atomic number. Let me change colors here. All right, so the atomic number is 15.
Right.
So, atomic number tells the protons. Okay, here, let me write it all the way out. Okay,
Atomic number.
the atomic number tells the protons, so there are 15. All right, how do we find electrons?
Subtract 30.
No, it's
I thought I knew.
How do we find electrons?
It's the number of protons.
Okay,
So it's negative.
whoops, I'm going the wrong way here.
Negative.
It's the same as the protons. So there are how many?
15.
There are 15. Okay? So, to find neutrons, All right, that's mass. Subtract the number. So, how many do I have? 31 minus 15 is 16.
Don't move back over.
I wasn't going anywhere.
I think I got this.
All right.
No.
Just set this.
We hadn't even got started yet.
Our brain.
People, we hadn't even got started yet. This is not hard. Yes.
Every time we do a notation, we always round it to the whole number.
No, that would be isotopes. We're not there yet. Hold your roll.
Brilliant.
We ain't got started yet.
Where'd you get 31 from?
That's the mass. I will choose the isotope or the mass.
Oh.
All right. So let's say that we have hyphen notation. All right. Let's say that we have. Let's say that I get a periodic table since this one. All right. This time we have how many numbers given to us?
2.
Okay, I don't mean literally that there are literally 2 numbers written in the I mean, do we have atomic mass and atomic number, or only one of those? We only have either atomic mass or atomic number. So, which one do we have?
Look it up. Oh, wait, we don't
We
know.
got the mass.
We have the mass. Okay? Okay, this is the mass. Now, some of you are going to look and be like, not the same number. Anybody looked it up and said it's not the same number in their head? 58 is the same number. I got it. I'm going to say this is an isotope. I'll come back to that word in just a second. Okay? It's an isotope of nickel. Now, number is not given because the atomic number never changes. Atomic number identifies the element. The atomic number of nickel is what? 28. If you have 29 for an atomic number, you're what element?
Copper.
You're copper. You're not nickel anymore. If you have 6 for an atomic number, you're what?
Carbon.
You're carbon. And you're that pencil, for those of you who are writing with pencil. Here's Miss Wall's pet peeve for the semester. Please don't ask me for lead. You're not writing with lead. You're writing with carbon. You're writing with a graphite pencil. Okay? Even though you all believe that you're writing with lead pencils. We've not written with lead pencils since the early 70s. Okay? Lead is toxic. If I get pissed at Karen and walk over there and take that pencil from her and jab her with it. Okay? She can get lead poisoning. Okay? A little piece of pencil she's writing with, if it had lead, could give her lead poisoning. We took lead out of pencils in the 70s. Okay? It's graphite. It's carbon. It has an atomic number of 6. Lead has an atomic number of what? Lead has an atomic number of what?
Wait, 82?
I hear 82 out there.
Yeah,
Yes, 82.
82 is correct. Are they the same element? No. Okay? You are not writing with lead. Okay? Yes. Now, that's correct. It's just graphite. It's just carbon. It's not going to hurt you. Okay? So, once you look up the atomic number, everything else works just like what we just did. Okay? So the protons How do you find the protons? What did we just do? It's the atomic number. So what is the atomic number? 28.
Okay, good.
So to find the electrons, what did we say we would do just a minute ago?
It's the same as protons.
Okay.
Right.
That is correct. It's the same as the protons. There are 28. Okay? And to find the neutrons, you do what?
60 minus 28.
Okay, it's the mass minus the number. So I hear 60 minus 28, so 32. Okay. Any issues with the two types of notations you're going to see? Everybody okay with those? Do you write while I'm talking?
Yeah.
And I can't see when you're writing.
Well, you know, I'm not a skinny mini, so, you know,
No,
I do block
didn't
the
mean it
board.
like that. You're a teacher in front of the board, and I don't want to like write something and then I have to get out my white out because I don't have it right.
Stop arguing and write. Or if you're going to argue, write while you're doing it.
I just knew we were gonna have a good time this year.
Yeah. That's funny. What?
Maybe we can just put it back.
You there? All right. So, what's this isotope I speak of? All right. An isotope is an atom with the same number of protons and a different number of neutrons. Now, I left a little space because some books define it differently. They substitute in two different words. So, an atom with the same number of protons. What's the word we've learned today for the number of protons? I hear atomic ma from Linda up here. What's the word for a number of protons that's not atomic ma?
Atomic number.
Atomic number. That sounds so much better. Okay? So we could say an atom with the same atomic number and a different number of neutrons. Which word that we've learned today would mean a different number of neutrons? What would cause the neutrons to be different? The atomic number or the atomic mass would cause the neutrons to be different? Atomic mass. Okay? So some books, instead of saying that you have the same number of protons and a different number of neutrons, they like to say you have the same atomic number, but you have a different atomic mass. So a minute ago, when I used nickel 60, and the periodic table had nickel 58, those are isotopes of each other. An example that you might be a little more familiar with are carbon 14 and carbon 12. Carbon 12 is your pencil or graphite. For those of you who have diamonds, it's another form. It's called an allotrope of carbon 12. Needs a different condition than graphite needs to make it. And carbon 14 is used for radioactive carbon dating. Perhaps you talked about it in earth science when you talked about fossil dating or dating of rocks.
Anything that I don't remember.
Okay. Well, anyhow, Carbon 14 we use for dating. It's radioactive, so you can use it to date how old things are. All right, but those are two elements that have the same atomic number, but they have different atomic masses. All right, and usually most students are more familiar with carbon 12 and carbon 14 than they are most other things I could name. Now, they would have the same atomic number, they'll have a different atomic mass. They have the same number, different number of neutrons. Okay? Now, when I give you something like this, do you use the mass I give you in the question, or do you use the mass that you find on the periodic table? The mass that I give you in the question. Okay? Don't hunt for what it is on the table. You use the mass I give you. All right? Everybody with me so far?
You moved that one.
I can move any direction you want. Tell me when you got it. Okay? So, what if I want you to go backwards? What if I say that you have 14 electrons and 14 neutrons, and I want you to write hyphen notation and nuclear symbol notation?
You want you to get out of your chair.
That's so funny.
All right?
Yeah. What did you write after phrase?
Pencil and graphite.
All right.
I think.
Thank you.
Welcome. All right. So, what would we need to know to write this in nuclear symbol notation and hyphen notation? What things do we need to figure out if I want you to go back?
Is that a minus sign? No, that's a negative.
That's an E with a minus for electrons negative.
Oh, so we got the
So we got the what thingy
we
thingy.
got the protons thing.
Okay, so what's the protons?
The protons 14.
All right, so the protons are 14.
Whoa, you're smart.
Okay, so we know the protons are 14. Okay, what else do we know?
What you call it?
The whatchamacallit. I need some. All right, y'all need some more chemistry words besides thingy and whatchamacallit. Those are not going to be on the exam. The atomic mass and the atomic number is what I'm hoping for.
Yes.
Yeah, 28.
Okay, so which one is that one?
Silicone.
Okay, silicone you got by knowing what?
The atomic number.
Here we go again with that atomic Okay, so which is the atomic number? Okay, what tells the atomic number? There we go. So the atomic number tells the protons. So we know we have 14, and that's how Linda was able to tell me it is silicon. Okay? That's how she made that leap. Is everybody with her on how she did that?
Yes.
She couldn't articulate it, but that's how she did it in her head. All right, now, the atomic mass that somebody yelled out. All right, how'd they make the leap? They had the right answer, but how'd they do it?
At the protons.
There we go. Atomic mass is defined as protons and neutrons. What does and mean in math class? Addition. So protons are 14 plus neutrons are 14. 14 plus 14 is what? 28. That's how we get 28. We do not look at the periodic table because can you be assured that I'm going to give you the number that's on that table?
No.
What do you think the odds are I will? Remote.
30.
Okay? Simply because I'll play with you just so you don't get that. Okay? Just because I'm cold that way. Now, you've got all the information. Now we need to write the notation.
Are we writing it as hyphen?
We're doing both. Okay? So which one you want to do first?
Nuclear symbol.
All right, so nuclear symbol. We need the symbol for silicon. What's the symbol?
SI.
SI?
It's on the paper.
You go, Linda. You don't wait for anybody. You go, Linda.
I feel you.
All right, so we need both numbers. What are the two numbers?
14.
Okay, put them on there. Mass typically goes at the top. 14 goes at the bottom. Now, I will be honest with you. If you flip them, I won't take off. I do prefer mass at the top and number at the bottom. But if you accidentally flip them, I'm not going to take off.
Ever.
ever. Now, hyphen notation. How do we do hyphen notation?
The name of the.
You write the name. What's the name?
Okay.
So you write silicon, or you can say silicone, either one.
Doesn't silicon have an E at the end? That's what I thought.
No,
It doesn't?
not the way it's spelled on the periodic table.
So why do they pronounce it silicon?
I have no idea.
You said silicon.
We were in Europe. Aluminum would be aluminium. All right. Silicon, hyphen, what goes at the end? Number or mass?
Mass.
So what's the mass?
180.
Voila.
Oh.
What is that big word you're saying right now?
What's the video?
Questions? Are you with me?
No.
Yes or no?
Give me like
So it's hard.
once we don't put the atomic number.
The hyphen notation has no atomic number because what never changes about the element? The atomic number, so you can always look it up, so you don't have to include atomic number. That's why hyphen notation exists.
Oh,
Okay? I like hyphen notation when I do a test because it's much easier for me to put on a test, but students generally like hyphen notation better because, or nuclear symbol better because it already has both numbers in the question. Okay? Everybody have what they need?
So
Alright.
these two are two different.
Say what now?
The first SI is 1.
Yes.
Silicone dash 28 is
Yes.
The first one's nuclear.
This would be two different answers. Answer 1, answer 2.
No more. Very good.
We're not doing all of these.
Okay.
We don't have time. We're doing C, we're doing D, and we're doing B. We're doing those three.
Are we doing it in that order?
No, you can start at the top. Okay?
I had to ask no idea. This is practice.
Yes.
I thought silicon minus 28 was our last answer. So you just want to work backwards or something?
Yeah, I just want you to do those three, B, D, and C.
Bless you. Thank you. Thank you.
Do those three.
What time do we get on?
I think it's 12. I didn't actually look. I tried to go based on memory. I probably ought to look, since there's no bell. 12.
What time do we leave third?
I don't know. What lunch you have?
Freaking third, freaking the dumbest teacher here.
Here she goes. Hey, which one? I'm repeating that.
Third lunch is 1:40 to 2:05.
Oh.
Oh,
I don't know. Some questions. You got hyphen notation. You don't got one number. Mass or number.
I'm still confused.
Okay. So you gotta find what then? Find your atomic number. So what's it take? Would be the what? You're finding protons, neutrons, and electrons. Find protons, neutrons, and the electrons.
Five protons following calcium. You know the mass is 40. And you also know the that's pretty wrong. And so you find which one? Is a number of electrons. And then you do 40.
C says 56 electrons and 2 neutrons.
Atomic mass is on top and numbers on like that. Okay.
Who else has a question? Other than
So, what is this like for calcium and sodium? Like, I know calcium 40 is the mass. So
Yep.
Sodium is 23 also.
Yep. Anything after the hyphen is always a mass.
Okay.
Last year. So what?
Who else has a question?
I'm not scared.
Where's AG?
What is it?
AG is number 47.
Silver. It's already solved for us. What do you want me to do?
I want you to find the protons, the neutrons, and the electrons.
Electrons and protons.
Oh, come on, Molly.
You made over it.
61.
Thank you.
Welcome.
What did you do?
She got to memorize. She's
Oh, no, I'm gonna tell her. He said
Anybody else have a question? You what? Okay. Anybody else? Yes, we're going. We're reporting not doing it.
Okay, I'm going.
Question?
You're done.
I got the mixed up. They're different flavors. They need a label the flavor. They can't just put all Pop Tarts in the same.
We put the math on top, right?
On what?
Yes. Like,
Mass on top, number at bottom. Yeah. For the mass.
Okay. And do we know what that is?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm getting it now.
It's a little different in the table, so you gotta figure out the missing spots in the table. Is that bad?
Did they never tell me anything? They never tell me.
I got like 3
I haven't even done the twist on this yet.
I never go to Tuesday, they do it Saturday.
You know what? Nothing else.
You gotta add an ion.
It's okay.
It's like vanilla.
Alright, we're there, can we talk about whether you got it right or not? Alright, so define the protons in B. How many protons did you have in B? How many electrons? How many neutrons? Everybody okay on B?
Yes.
Alright, in D, how many protons? How many electrons? And how many neutrons? Everybody okay on D? Alright, so for C, you said the protons were what? So from there, you said the element was what? Alright, so you had 56 at the bottom. You combine these two to get what? 138. So you had 138 up here on nuclear symbol. And then you wrote out barium. And 138. That's really ugly. Let's see if we make that look a little better. 138 for hyphen notation. Are we okay on those?
Sure.
Yes, no? Yeah?
Wait, nuclear notation is the second one, right?
Nuclear is the one that has a symbol in it.
So it's not.
Hyphen has the hyphen in it. That's why it's called hyphen notation. Because it has the hyphen.
No way.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing why they name things hyphen notation because it has a hyphen in it, right?
Right.
Whoa.
What?
Get a nap. We'll be done.
Nope, no naps.
I don't have a class to take naps in anymore.
Why? Which one did you have? You took a nap in.
Spanish story.
Oh.
It's like some days we just didn't
Right.
Okay.
feel like it. So
All right,
we just,
cool. All right, let's talk about
can't say. Because they don't know that we took naps.
all right. Fascinating. Ions.
More?
Yep.
Is this like a whole nother set?
Yeah.
Okay.
We might get that quiz yet tomorrow. We're
We're
buzzing right along.
Wait, I need more practice. I need more practice.
I got practice for you today. Chill. All right. So ions are atoms with a charge. Now, there are two kinds of ions we're going to work with today. We're going to talk about cation ions. That means they are positive ions, such as Na+1 or Al+3, for example. Those would be cation ions. Yes, dear?
Are we naming this ions?
Yes.
Okay.
So is one word or is it like
It's all one word. All right. I just tried to emphasize that it's cat ion for pronunciation. A lot of people say cations, and I'm like, dude, it's not cations. Y'all sound stupid. It's cat ion. Okay. All right. Part of being in chemistry is when you get out, you need to sound literate. All right. That's why we don't call them whatchamadoodles and thingies. Okay. All together. You can make it a subheading if you would like.
Started a new page.
New page is fabulous. If that's the way it floats for you on your notebook, make it a new page. All right.
Oh my God.
Now, the second one is called an anion. Not an onion. They're not onions. They're not onions. It's an anion. All right. These are negative ions. Okay. Negative ions, positive ions. Now, negative ions might be like O-2, Cl-1. So, we want to do the same things we just did. We want to find their protons, neutrons, and electrons only with chemistry is PE for your brain cells.
You're really
Except we're not lifting legs and arms and running and walking. We're just exercising your brain cells.
Yeah, it
Okay.
hurts.
I'm sorry.
All right? That's the way I feel every day I go to
I'm
staff
sore. We
meeting.
need a rest day.
They said this is making their brains hurt. I said chemistry's
Says never
PE for your
rest
brain
day,
cells.
every day.
I said we feel that way when we go to a staff meeting. So, everybody caught up?
No.
I need to wait.
Bauer says grind never stops at the light of day.
What are those?
We're not doing
What?
What are those?
that right
Those are just examples. O with a -2
every
and Cl with a -1. Those are just examples of anions.
I didn't even get those.
Oh,
Golly. Golly, I never even got with it.
I can't remember the last time I heard someone use that.
that's because they're too used to profanity, Harmon. You just keep using that one. It was a pleasant surprise. You know, I'm so used to fourth period last semester. I'm only used to 4-letter words.
All y'all. Golly.
And I don't mean crap. All right. So, suppose we have Fe with a 56, a 26, and a +3. No, it's not. So we have the exact same thing that you just had. The only thing we did was add a +3. Okay?
That's a
Three.
It's fine.
Going back to physics.
Okay.
Will we see this on the final exam?
Yes, all of this is on the final exam. Other than converting and the significant digits that we talked about. Everything else I've taught is on the final exam. Specific heat, physical and chemical properties, all that stuff's on the final exam. All right, so when you look at this again is the atomic number. This is still the mass. This is your oxidation number. Okay. It tells the electrons lost or gained. Okay. So this is what you got to know. Positive means electrons are lost. Negative means electrons are gained. It has absolutely nothing to do with protons or neutrons. It has no effect on those. It only affects what? Electrons.
I really don't like the fact that you don't, like, for a constant, you just put number sign like that. I know what that means. But y'all. Like, I need to put atomic number, not just number sign.
So why does the positive electrons lost?
You done goof. Look, put positive E minus lost. Negative E minus gain.
Yes, Herman.
Is that dash after the pound key thing?
It's just a dash for the definition. It's just a dash.
Wait, I'm confused. You put positive and then you put E negative equals lost.
Because electrons.
I'm going to explain. If you can be quiet long enough, I'm going to explain. All right. So how did we say we would find protons just a moment ago?
Because it's the same
Number.
as electrons.
Back up, we don't know the electrons.
Atomic number.
It's the atomic number. Okay. So protons are the atomic number, and I will not abbreviate for Annabelle. All right. So what is our atomic number? 26. Okay. Is everybody with us on? Protons are the atomic number, so there's 26. Okay. So to find electrons. All right. What did Nalasia say just a second ago? All right. So it's the same as the protons. So there were 26. Now, here's the new piece we're adding in. This right here means what?
Lost.
We lost. We lost how many?
3.
We lost 3 electrons.
So we just gonna subtract them.
We're going to subtract 3, and we got how many? 23.
Not like that. I'm going to.
That's all that means. That's it.
It doesn't change the element.
Nope. That has nothing to do with that. Doesn't change anything about the element. The atomic number identifies the element. That can't change.
But protons and electrons are the same.
It doesn't matter. It makes it an ion. It's not neutral anymore. All right. So for the neutrons, how do we find neutrons? Hang on one second. How do we find neutrons?
Subtract the mass and the number.
So we take the mass minus the number. So we say 56 minus 26, and we get 30. All right, Rosanna, what's your question?
So we always subtract the like plus and minus, we always subtract that to the electrons.
If it was a minus up there, we would do what with it with the electrons? You would add it, but it's always to the electrons.
Okay.
It doesn't change. It's always to the electrons. We're going to do another one, though, and I'm going to do it with a minus one.
Is this on the homework too?
Yes.
We have 5 minutes.
I know. I'm looking at my clock. Got to hand out some homework sheets and do another example.
No.
So my color coding people need to finish up quickly.
I'm done.
Rosanna's not. You there? We there? Yes? No? All right. Last example so we can hand out homework. So let's say we have an S with a Let's go 34, 16, and -2. All right. How many protons do I have?
16.
Okay. Remember, it's always the atomic number, which would be 16. All right. The electrons would be
18, 14.
the same as the protons. So the protons are 16. This means what? That means you gain 2. That's why people are saying,
This rule.
so you'd have 18. Okay? It's a -2. That means there are more electrons than protons.
Yeah.
That's why it's negative.
You give me
Okay?
So is it the number of electrons or is it ions?
It's what?
Is it electrons or is it ions?
It's more electrons than the protons.
So the number at the top is the ions?
It's the extra electrons than the protons. It makes
So what is,
an ion is what it's called because it has extra electrons.
Just for us to be easier, call it an ion.
Oh, so the element itself is called an ion.
The element itself is called an ion.
Whoa, 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 whoa,
Oh, an element.
Okay?
whoa.
Now, I need 2 lovely people, or at least one. I can hand out one. Who help me hand out a piece of paper? Now, ladies, you can.
Nah,
Here, you hand out
right,
one.
you were lovely.
The rest of you, put your calculators up so we can talk homework real fast, because we're down to 3 minutes. So we need homework handed out, and I need to tell you what you got to do. Because one side of it's not homework because we ain't got to it. I was conservative paper.
I'm guessing it's average atomic mass.
That's correct.
I don't have that on the back of my hand.
It's on the back of your parents' handed out.
Oh.
Calculators.